dun 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 dun. All right, guys. Hello. Welcome to this weekend's special movie review. It is of course, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Yes.
Long-awaited conclusion to this now 8-film franchise. I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna put it out there. This is my favorite action franchise of all time.
Me too.
Yeah.
This franchise literally has one movie that I do not like.
Yeah.
The rest of them I either love or I really like.
Yeah.
And
Two?
we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But we'll start off with our discussion of The Final Reckoning, and then we'll get into the ranking of all 8 movies.
Okay.
And
I would say as the I would say as the action movie expert, I guess I can go ahead and go first on in this one.
Yeah,
So-
go for it.
So, if you guys watched the New Year's Eve live, you know this was my #1 most anticipated film of the year. I love this franchise. It's one of my favorite action movie franchises ever. So, my expectations was pretty high on this list. And I was very excited to go see it on a Thursday opening weekend. I was like, oh yes, my buddy invited me to for us to watch it, and I was so happy that I actually got a chance to. So the only thing that would make it bad is if the movie has disappointed me, and I was hoping to God it did not disappoint me. And I'm very, very, very happy to say this movie did not disappoint whatsoever. I freaking love this movie. Oh, I loved it so much. We'll get to the rankings a little bit later, but I can definitely say, for me, this is the perfect conclusion to the Mission Impossible franchise. I know that some people said that it was clunky, which I don't agree with that, but we'll talk about those a little bit later. But what can we say has not been said before? The action stunts, God almighty, Tom Cruise, how are you not dead?
Right?
This is crazy. I mean, we'll get to the stunts later. There are what I think is the best of the franchise in terms of the stunts, which is absolutely just unbelievable. The characters, as usual, are just wonderful, including one particular character where I almost teared up, which we'll get to that part later. But I did say I was likely going to cry in this movie, and it's an action movie for goodness sakes. And yeah, I teared up at the end. Oh boy, when you get to the ending, it was so beautiful, so well executed with the ending. I loved every minute of it. I personally, I know, Gary, you're a filmmaker. I know you'll probably get to the flaws. Personally, I don't have any flaws with this movie, honestly. I personally think it's perfect in every way. This absolutely lived up to my expectations. As of right now, it is my #1 best film of the year. For now, it'll likely change, maybe. But as of right now, this is my favorite film of 2025. I loved it so much. So good.
I really enjoyed the film. I do have issues with it, and a lot of them are what people some people are saying. This is not my favorite film in the franchise. This obviously we'll get into it with the rankings, but this film, even when Mission Impossible is not great, even when a Mission Impossible film isn't amazing, the film is still probably better than most action films that are usually out there during the year. And this film, I do agree with a lot of people that the first half of the film is kind of a chore to get through. I don't think the first half of the film is bad by any means. I'd say it is a little bit rough to get through because there is a lot of exposition. There's a lot of, build up. There's a lot of dialogue, and there isn't a ton of action happening in the film until the second half of this film is absolute gold.
Yes.
The last half of this film has some of the most nail-biting, the most edge on your seat stuff I
ain't
have seen
kidding.
in the series.
You are not kidding.
This film has two sequences that I literally cannot even believe I saw on the big screen. And that is, of course, the submarine sequence, and then there's the biplane sequence, which has been teased to no end with the marketing. It lives up to the hype. It absolutely lives up to the hype.
Yes.
No music with the underwater sequence. No music
Seriously,
whatsoever.
the
So
submarine sequence is I was not prepared for how intense it was.
No.
Yeah, same.
And the lack of music in this sequence is part of the reason why.
It's eerie.
Yeah.
It's like a horror film. Like it is like a haunted house film that takes place in a submarine, where instead of ghosts, there's just a whole lot of water. And it's amazing. Tom Cruise is absolutely still crushing it. Does not miss a beat in the entire film. Not just in the stunts, but his performance is also just completely committed to the character of Ethan Hunt. I will say I could have used. I definitely agree with some of the criticism that the film could have used more camaraderie between between the team, like between Ethan and Benji, and a little bit more of Haley Atwell's character. I could have used more of that. And there's a major death that happens in the film, of course, and we'll get to that in spoilers. But this film is taking itself very seriously as the conclusion to a giant action franchise. And for the most part, I think it worked pretty well. Like, you genuinely feel the threat that the entity, which is pretty much the main bad guy, aside from Gabriel, who's played by S.I. Morales. Who does he play in Flash? I forget.
He was in Titans as Deathstroke.
Oh yeah, he was Deathstroke.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
Never mind. Wrong series.
Close enough.
Yeah, it is close. I mean, it is
I mean,
music.
yeah. But Gabriel, I'm still a little mixed on it. Like, I think SI gives a really fun bad guy villain performance. There's not much to the character, but I think the performance himself, I think he does fun with. What was I about to get? The Entity. So yeah, a lot of action films like this. The end of the world is like a big thing in this film. Obviously, we've seen a lot of conclusion stories, to major franchises end with, oh, the world is in serious peril. I legit felt it in this film, because they do enough where the Entity does feel like it is a major threat. They build up the fact that the trailers allude to. I won't get too much into it in this section of the review, but there's a whole lot of missiles from different countries that are aimed at each other throughout the entire film, and they make sure you know that within every scene. And they do a good job of building up that threat. And you do feel Tom Cruise's performance as Ethan, now that because he learned so much information from the Entity, and his performance gets it across that this is life or death now, and these are easily the biggest stakes of the franchise to date. And it does, to me, it did really feel like this was the ending to an 8-film arc. And one of the best things about this film is that it does tie back to pretty much every film that came before it. From
I
the
love
first
that
film
part. That's one of my
to
favorites.
the Rabbit's Foot in Mission Impossible 3.
Yes.
It ties back to all of it. Most of it. Now, one of my big criticisms with the film is that, and this is something that a lot of films do, like especially a lot of concluding chapter films, they feel like they need to use clips like constantly from the previous movies, and that does get on my nerves. I feel like most films do not need to do that. I think it is a little unnecessary. And even it cuts to flashback scenes to scenes that we just saw like maybe 10 minutes ago. I feel like it's unnecessary, and it kind of hurts the pacing a bit, and it feels like it's kind of like dangling keys in front of like the dumb audience members' faces. It's like information that we just kind of learned and we don't really need repeated. It was a lot of repetitive like exposition, and it that definitely hurt the film for me. But like I said, once it gets from the submarine sequence to the end, I was completely glued to the screen, and it absolutely. I do have flaws with the movie. I don't think it's like I wouldn't call it a great film necessarily, but everything in the second half is like damn near A plus. Like I cannot fault almost anything in the second half of this film. It is just it's exhilarating. But yeah, that's all I got for non-spoiler stuff.
Yeah. You were hyped for this movie when you were on the chat.
I was
You
too.
were very hyped though when you said you got so excited to pay your tickets. So, what is your thought of the movie? Did it lift up the expectations for you?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I loved it.
Yeah.
I part one was sitting at the top of my ranking. I won't say what's at the top of my ranking right now, but part one was at the top of my ranking was at the top of my ranking.
Same.
I really love part one, and being a direct follow up to part one, and
Dead
being
Reckoning Part 2.
I will say
I'm not gonna call Dead Reckoning Dead Reckoning.
Exactly.
I do
It's
think
gonna be
that
part one.
hurt the performance of the last one because I think part one movies just don't do that well when audiences know going in
No.
that it's just a part one.
Mm.
They should have said
Um,
Dead Reckoning. in
Yeah,
there.
they
I
should just
do
done
think
that. Yeah.
I do think they should just stuck with Dead Reckoning. That's no part one or part two or
Mm.
anything, and just save the final reckoning, obviously, which they did for this. Um, I mean, it's happened before with Deathly Hollows, part one and two. Happened with Catching Fire, part one and two. The smart like part two movies like Endgame and Infinity War and the It films, they knew best to keep the part one angle until like after the movie. The marketing
Yeah.
Until it's too
And-
late.
and Wicked did that too. Like they saved that that part two aspect for when either the movie was just coming out or saving it for after. And
I
then
agree. Yeah.
I think that is always the best way to move forward. I mean, in terms of a marketing
It didn't help that
standpoint.
it came out the same weekend as Barbie. and
Oh,
Oppenheimer.
right before Barbenheimer, and
Yeah.
that did not help at
Yeah.
all.
Very
And
unfortunate.
I really enjoyed Dead Reckoning a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said, I either aside from one film, I'm sure you already know what it is. Yeah, I either really like, I either really enjoy or straight up love all of these. So,
Yes, yeah.
But tell us why you love the film, Dylan. Tell us why.
Well, I mean, I just thought that it was really good. I totally see the viewpoint about the first half being a bit
Mhm.
sluggish.
because there's not really any action, really. Maybe a little bit in the opening, but most.
the not to be specific, but the tunnel sequence, like
Mhm.
that was basically it in the first half.
Mhm.
And then after that, it was kind of just bouncing around trying to move the plot forward.
Which most of that stuff is necessary, but they could have.
Yeah,
They definitely could have like spaced it out a little bit more. Kind of, like I said, like cut out a bunch of that flashback stuff, like the clips from the other movies. I think that would have definitely helped out more, at least less of it. I think they went too overboard with all that like editing stuff where they're showing clips and whatnot.
I feel like it was just a little too much for my taste, at least.
There's a montage in the opening scene of this that I feel like, okay, I can definitely buy. I'm definitely fine with this being like if that's going to be your big montage of clips, but they
Yeah.
do it throughout most of the movie, and I'm like, or the first half of it is like you really could have trimmed this out, and I think it would have helped things out more.
Well, I think some of it because I'm not remembering it happening a whole lot afterwards, unless Ethan was thinking about everybody that was in danger.
In the second half, they definitely stopped doing it mostly.
Yeah, I think that's most of what I'm remembering at this point.
Yeah.
But no, there was definitely quite a bit of it. I agree. It was a little bit too much. But I mean, I liked when it was. I liked when it was showing Ethan. As I was watching the movie, I was like, okay, well, this is just what's going through Ethan's head at this current given moment.
Right.
And so like that's kind of how I pass it off. But I could totally see how that wouldn't be great. But no, I really liked it. I thought that it was good. I will say there was a moment watching this where I was like, I swear to God, if this person dies,
yeah,
I'm going to burn down the studio. I was like,
that's the
Tom
thing.
Cruise, count your days.
And that's the thing. I pretty much love all these characters that this franchise has set up ever since Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
You know, I love Simon Pegg's Benji. Has always been a welcome addition.
Oh yeah.
As well as Ving Rhames as Luther.
He is so funny.
Sadly, spoiler alert from the last movie. Ilsa's not in the picture anymore.
Yeah.
Rebecca Ferguson. Haley Atwell I love her in these movies.
Yes, she's awesome.
She's absolutely awesome.
Absolutely. Yes.
I love the character. I love her way of pickpocketing. She has great chemistry with the others. Yeah. And Pom Clementif. If I'm butchering her name, I'm sorry. Mantis.
Yeah.
The actress who played Mantis. But I liked her a lot in this one. In the previous one, she was just mostly the silent henchman.
Yeah.
But she definitely has more of an arc in this one, and I think she added a lot of good, like dark comedic relief. To some extent.
I mean, it was just nice having her at the minimum fill that void because it was a great character. Great character with everything that they've done. But like, I do think I agree. Yeah, she definitely added more to it than what would have been there. I feel like she was a good counter for Benji.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why. I just like that pairing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
they have a lot of fun scenes, especially in the second half.
Yeah,
definitely.
But I'm going to move on to spoilers.
All right, guys, we're moving on to spoilers for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning in 3, 2, 1. Are we talking about Benji in the Doomsday Vault?
Dude, wait, he was like, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
And he lifted away. I was like, I'm going to burn this entire theater to the ground.
Man, I would have been really bummed if he
I take
if he
a
bit
guess
it
that
at
he's
the
your
end.
favorite character throughout the entire series. I don't blame you.
He's been one of my favorites since 4.
I just love
truly.
Simon Pegg in general.
Yeah,
but.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah. But I do want to say I love the opening scene where when she talks to Ethan Hunt is that thank you for everything that you do, and I was thinking, guys, you're already giving the heartstrings. The movie's just started, guys. Don't do that to me, man. But
It's definitely a scene.
It was beautiful though.
The first half, I would say, I think it's clunky, but it is clearly that they were being a love letter to the entire franchise.
Yeah.
And the
It
fans
is,
who
absolutely.
stuck with it for, God, it's been almost
29
30 years.
Yeah.
Man.
And I didn't
Since
mind
96.
flashbacks, honestly, because it actually, for me, it made sense of why they want to do flashbacks, because this is the final chapter.
But a
This
lot
is
of
the
final...
climax.
I feel like a lot of the best final chapter movies don't need to do all the flashbacks. Like, Endgame didn't need a bunch of like they already are doing enough like callbacks without strictly showing all the clips and stuff. And
Right.
same thing with Deathly Hallows Part 2,
Okay.
which I think are two of the best.
I was
examples.
unaware they actually had that. And I haven't even seen Harry Potter, but I had no idea they
Well,
actually did that.
It does it a little bit in Deathly Hallows Part 2, but not a ton.
Gotcha.
I feel like for this one it is a little better than if Deathly Hallows had done something, because Deathly Hallows had only been going for 12 years at the point that it ended.
True.
Like you just said, like it's been 29 years.
Mhm.
Like 30
8
years of
films.
movies, even though it was only 8. I don't know. I feel like having clip shows in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's I liked it because of that, because it was showing like we've grown with these characters and we've seen them do this time and time again, and seeing their story over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked seeing that summary, even if it was a little more frequent than I would have liked. I liked that because I thought that it brought a little more to it and brought some extra feeling.
Yeah.
And I do like a lot of the characters that they do bring back in this. I like that they bring back the guy from the first movie,
Dunlow.
William Dunlow.
I was like, whoa, what? I was like,
yeah,
that's so
I was
cool.
very surprised because I can't remember if he had any real dialogue in the first movie.
He had, like,
other than
2
puking in
lines?
that
Yeah.
that one scene where probably everyone's favorite scene in the first film, where he's breaking into that room.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
And he is the guy that finds the knife in there. He has a great character arc in this.
Yeah.
And his wife is also wonderful in the film too. And she's one of my favorite side characters in it.
There were a few times when I saw these characters, I was thinking, "Hey, you are one of the family members of this movie." And I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, you gotta be."
Oh,
kidding me."
so Shea Wiggum, that guy's name, is actually the son of God damn it, what is that guy's?
Owen Wilkin, I think it was his name.
No. The guy from the first movie.
Yeah, I know you're talking.
Jon Voight.
Sorry.
Jon Voight's character's son.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit, kind of far-fetched. It was a little far-fetched for me, but I mean, it's whatever. If you want to put some connective tissue.
Yeah.
I'm not usually a fan of when they introduce a character that we haven't been introduced to yet, and then they reveal, oh, this is like a direct descendant of an older character. I'm usually not a fan of that. But it didn't really bother me that much. Yeah. And they don't focus on it too heavily.
Yeah. Luther. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
that was what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to my next point. Oh man. Whoo.
Very well acted scene.
Yeah,
I almost got emotional when I saw that. Like, I kind of knew that somebody was gonna die, but still, though. But
I had
you
a
know, I
feeling
could take it. I took it because I was thinking it is the final one, and
someone's got to die.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, the acting of Tom Cruise and Ving Rhames,
Ving
so
Rhames
beautiful.
Ving Rhames is just a great actor in general.
He
like
is.
truly.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Lilo and Stitch yet. I don't know if he made any kind of appearance in
as
that.
Bubbles.
Because I know I did hear some of the talent from the animated one does actually make an appearance
thinking,
of
that
some
was
sorts.
him, huh?
Cobra Bubbles.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was Michael Clark Smith, but that
Wait.
digress.
You mean Michael Clark Duncan?
Duncan, thank you.
Well,
yeah.
he passed away
okay. Well, he sort of sounds
years
like
ago. But
seriously,
yeah.
that's the part where I almost cried. I was thinking, oh my gosh, and I whispered to my buddy. I said, "Is he gone?" And he said, "Yeah," and he gave me a pound.
Unless they pull some Fast and Furious shit where they just bring character back.
It's almost like your friend just passed away, and so. Whew.
And this is a guy.
Beautiful.
This guy has been in the series since the first one.
Yeah.
And he's great.
Yeah. I can't remember, what was he in the hospital for.
I don't remember. I'm not sure.
Was
if
that
it
established
got brought
in
up.
Dead Reckoning?
In Dead Reckoning, he was like, "Ethan, I gotta take off. If I'm gonna figure this out, I need to be completely isolated." I don't remember him bringing up an illness or anything.
Yeah, that did kind of like confuse me. It was like, what's wrong with him? Why is he?
While you guys talk, I'm gonna look that up.
Okay, yeah, sure. But yeah, I mean that was just absolutely just so beautiful. And then the moment I also love a lot is the countdown of how many days is left until you finish the mission. Because if you don't, the world's going to explode and everyone's going to die.
There's constantly stakes and there's constantly pressure on the characters.
For me, this is like the highest stake per Mission Impossible movie I have seen.
I mean,
in
literally
years.
the end of the world. Like countries are just and the entity shows visions of what's going to happen to.
And I'm thinking,
Ethan
I swear
when
to
he
God,
when
I
he
hope
goes
that Tom Cruise doesn't die.
I I was on the verge of being on. I was on the verge of. It was on the verge of being very silly when Ethan goes in, where puts on that entity mask or whatever it is in like the beginning and when he's talking directly to the entity, which I'm pretty sure that was S.I. Morales who was doing that voice of the entity's voice. I'm pretty sure that was him. But basically talking directly to it looked kind of, when the way it was shot kind of reminded me of Tony Stark's like the helmet cam.
Yeah.
From the MCU a little bit. That they don't. But I think they played it just right because Mission Impossible, obviously has had a lot of like over the top stuff happen. Absolutely. This was the point where it could have gone really far with it and become like sci-fi, but I don't think they went too far with that scene where he's talking to the AI, the entity.
I don't think so.
But yeah, once Ethan once they like finally get through all the talking and Ethan goes to the Arctic where that submarine is, and he jumps from that helicopter and comes across the that other submarine crew, which I really liked that group, including Katie O'Brien, who's from Indiana.
Nice!
You've seen her in a lot of stuff, actually. She was
in Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, she was in Mandalorian, and she was in
Quantumania.
Quantumania.
Wow.
Yeah, she's getting up there for sure.
That's really cool.
She was in a movie with Kristen Stewart.
Shout out to Who's Your Actors. Woohoo!
Bleeding, Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nice.
I like that movie. That was a good movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
But
it's
everybody,
weird.
but
it's
everybody
weird,
did great in that movie. That's really good.
I really like the Trammell, the main guy in the crew, the captain or what? Trammell. He's from Severance.
That's where. Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I haven't actually watched Severance, but I've seen
the black guy.
I've seen him
but
from
he's
clips.
great. He's great.
Yeah,
in it.
he is. Great
He has a small
Absolutely.
role in this, but I did really his character. I really did enjoy, and him and Tom Cruise played off each other great. Once he gets into that suit, and once he, the scoop, I can't remember what they called it. The decompression suit, just to protect him.
Yeah.
That
the
whole
special
sequence.
Oh man.
That whole sequence is just spellbinding.
Yes.
Like
My God.
jaw was like I watched that whole scene with my mouth agape. Pretty much. Like the way it's shot and everything, you can tell that they did this like mostly practical. They probably did have CGI shots of the submarine like turning and everything, but
Right.
I was blown away by that
I was
entire
holding my
sequence
breath throughout the entire time.
and then
Crazy.
just an insane sequence, almost no musical score. It very reminiscent of James Cameron's The Abyss. The way they did that.
That'd been like a 15, 20-minute shot.
20
the
minutes.
Entire time. I was thinking,
It's a 20-minute
my
sequence.
Gosh, Tom Cruise.
I thought the Rogue Nation sequence where he's underwater and that was like that bar was high.
Yeah.
This cleared it.
Yeah, totally.
And holy crap!
And it's just him and his
Yeah.
his shorts, and that was it throughout almost the entire time. Like,
man, that
oh gosh,
just
it
an
was so
amazing
good.
sequence, and just the way it ends with him nearly freezing to death because he can't fit through that torpedo tube, and nearly another moment in this franchise where Ethan Hunt pretty much dies and gets come. I mean, there's a ton of that, like
It happens
where
at
he
least 4
nearly
times.
dies.
And I was thinking, the movie's not over yet. I know.
Of course,
yet.
no. Beautifully shot sequence too,
Yes.
where especially when he's like floating to the top, to the back to the
Yeah,
surface.
Christopher
and
McCurry, mwah, brilliant.
seriously, McQuarrie does a great job directing. Then we get to pretty much the big like climax of the film where everything's on the line now. They finally got the source code to the entity where they have to do a whole bunch of crap. They have to use this thing that Luther made to poison it to basically trap the entity like drive thing, but they also have to get this. They have to get that first from Gabriel, who obviously is a huge problem, and Ethan has to go after him while the rest of the team has to do everything else in that vault. And the intercutting in this entire climax, really well done. Seriously, the biplane sequence.
Yes, it's outstanding.
I cannot even fathom how hard that must have been to film. Like
Right.
I genuinely watched it. It was like I could never imagine making anything like this ever.
No,
And
no. What?
like Jesus, the level of talent and cooperation and coordination that must have been involved with that.
It's phenomenal.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, you gotta be kidding me.
Everything that happens in that sequence is done so goddamn well. Like even I'm sure there was a lot of like green screen and keying involved. Not everything was shot, in like in the air. Like
Right.
some of it definitely had to be filmed like in a studio, but even the shots that I'm sure were they everything looked right, everything flowed together incredibly well.
It looks realistic too.
Yeah.
It's just I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like
Yeah.
I've seen this franchise do some absolutely insane stuff ever since Ghost Protocol with that Burj Khalifa thing, and they just keep setting that bar higher and higher, and
Oh my gosh,
just
they did.
insane stuff what they were able to accomplish with that. Two of the I think it's safe to say that these two giant sequences, the submarines scene and the biplane stuff, I'd say best action sequences of the entire franchise.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
100%. Yes.
I just wow.
Yeah, to reiterate what you said before, I have never really been on the edge of my seat the way that I was during those scenes. The entire time, I was scared, but both because of what the actors were doing, but also like the performers themselves. I was like, oh my God, I cannot imagine how fucking terrifying it must have been to be doing something like that.
This movie has an insane budget, like
Yes,
300 to 400 million. I genuinely feel like that money went to the right places.
Yes.
With this,
Yeah.
like 100%. Like this is not a $300 million movie where everything just looks like it was shot on a green screen.
No.
Like this genuinely feels and looks like a movie that costs.
I hope they get its money
that
back.
much.
I really hope it does.
I think it will, and it's the last one, and
it has to make $1 billion to break.
Critics were more divided on it than I think audiences are. I think
audiences love it.
audiences I think are gonna like this film more than critics are. Like because this film ends better than it begins, and usually that's not the case. There are a lot of movies where they start strong and then the third act kind of craps out. This is not the case at all.
No,
the third act
not.
completely marks the landing, and I think that's what audiences are going to come out of this film with. It is that that whole climax, and it's done flawlessly.
Yeah. And so while Ethan Hunt was doing his thing, the rest of the crew, they need to get the mission done too.
And literally, this climax completely rests on one character doing something in the literal blink of an eye. And so, the stakes can be higher, and they managed to do it, of course. And then that's basically where the film ends. And I swear to God, and they build it up like this was going to happen. I swear to God, Ethan Hunt was dead.
Yeah, right.
When he fell in that fog cloud, and you don't see him, and the light turns green.
Yeah,
it's like that's the end of Ethan Hunt. His parachute just burned up.
Well, I took sorry.
No, you're fine.
I took the green light as he lived. Just as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, with the amount of time that there's been since we saw him and since this light just turned green, I think that he probably would have hit the fucking ground before he managed to get it.
Yeah.
I would have been perfectly fine if that was the end of Ethan Hunt. Like,
because
literally he went through everything he went through in that sequence, and to have all that happen, and he still accomplished the mission.
Well, it became more so the last several movies, but they kept repeating the oath, we live in shadows, we die in shadows.
Yeah,
I was like, that's what when I was going into this movie, I rewatched everything before this. But going into it, I was like, we die in shadows thing, like, it makes sense for him to die here. Especially with how often they've been repeating this. I feel like it makes perfect sense. And like you said, I would have been totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I think that would be the ultimate sacrifice.
I thought it was going to
happen. That would be a good end to his character.
I do like how his character wraps up, where Haley Atwell's like, the only person, this entity is far too dangerous for pretty much anyone on Earth. The only one I trust with this power, and the only one who I trust in the hands of is you.
Yeah.
I do really love how the last scene is Ethan getting that drive with the entity in it, and I guess he's just gonna hold on to that. I don't think he's gonna do anything with it. And then he just, I really love the last shot where they're in this crowded area. This last scene doesn't have any dialogue. It's just music, and it's all just the characters looking at each other.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
And basically, I think this is the goodbye for all those characters. Unless this film makes like $1 billion, and the studio's just like, we can't stop here. And they absolutely should stop here. This is a good ending point. Yeah. Leave it at that. Yeah, then it just, the last shot is him blending back into the crowd and going back into the shadows.
Benji was alive. Yay!
Yep. And pretty much everyone in the climax survived, even
except for Luther, sadly.
Donlo and his wife. Who I'm glad those two survived.
Yeah, same. I was like, I feel like Donlo's probably gonna die off, or either him or Decca's.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the only two that one of those two I was expecting to die off in the finale. But yeah, no, I was surprised. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was really happy with that.
I can bet you now that the ending of him flying up there in that parachute, I bet he did have an injured ankle when he went down there. I can guarantee he was limping for real. This was not acting. Because you know how many injuries you have to go through to do all these things?
I bet most of the budget of this movie went to his insurance.
That was one of the rumors for why they wanted to cancel, because Tom Cruise wanted to keep going with it. But apparently, there's a rumor that the reason why they wanted to end the franchise here was because of the insurance costs.
I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, it's got to be insane.
Yeah, but man, yeah,
I think I got all my thoughts out for this. I am good to go into my rankings now.
Well, let's go into the ratings first before we. Into our ranking. Yeah. I guess you can go ahead and give your score for it.
So, like I said, really enjoy this film. I love this franchise to death, and I can watch any of these movies, even the one I don't like, and still get something out of it.
Yeah.
So, in terms of objective quality, I'm gonna have to go like 4 out of 5, just because the flaws of the first half are apparent, and they do. I'm not gonna act like this is a perfect movie just because of the 2 action sequences, but they seriously, because those 2 sequences and the last half in general is so well handled, it pretty much, I think it makes up for it. Like, it truly does. They saved the best for last with this one.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm gonna do 4 out of 5.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. Absolutely. If I could get more than 10, I could. Like I said, this is my #1 movie right now. It lived up to my expectations.
You should watch Sinners.
It was, yeah. It was a wonderful send up to these characters.
Absolutely.
Just, loved it.
For me, it's a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
No, I really truly loved it. I thought it was an amazing movie. It had its flaws, but it was damn good.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
I cannot wait to watch it
rewatch
again.
Same.
I will do whatever I can to see this again in IMAX again. Like,
Oh my.
yeah, the sequences, because I saw this in IMAX
Yes.
yesterday. Just
Yeah, I'm only watching Dolby just for whatever reason.
Dolby, it'll look great too.
Well, I went to IMAX for this yesterday, and it was the best choice I could have made.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I wish I saw it.
Yeah, because the aspect ratio gets bigger for those big sequences, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
I guess we'll go ahead and get the rankings. I guess I can go ahead and go first.
Okay.
On this one, and I don't need my phone for this. 'Cause I already got a rankings in my head of what it was going to be. I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be unanimous for last place.
yeah. Can we just get this out, all of us at the same time? Our least favorite film and franchise. 3, 2, 1. Mission Impossible 2. Like,
yeah.
I don't think anyone will disagree. Will have a different ranking with that. Like, this one doesn't even feel like the other movies in the franchise. Like, it truly doesn't.
It feels like a James Bond film.
This is absolutely the black sheep of this entire series.
The Letterboxd group had it as their second favorite.
They're crazy.
It's not well written. The story is convoluted, not in a good way. The villain is just kind of cartoonish and not very memorable. Ethan Hunt in this movie is a douchebag.
Yep.
Like, compared to the others, like, Ethan Hunt is just a great character. In this one, he's just an asshole. Like, I just don't like him in this movie.
Yeah. But personally, for me, I'm actually a lot more forgiving to Mission Impossible 2 than others. I like it a lot more when I rewatched it. I watched it 3 times, and I grew to appreciate it a lot more, even though it is my least favorite.
As a John Woo action film, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, but as a Mission Impossible film, it just does not fit.
No.
It doesn't fit in this franchise at all.
You can slightly forgive it more just because of how good the other movies
If you
are.
can't,
exactly.
Yeah, Matthew is talking in the background if you can't hear him because he doesn't have a mic. But yeah,
yeah,
we're all gonna have different rankings.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
From here, it's
So
different.
I knew exactly what I was gonna pick for my favorite and my worst. The rest of them, it was so hard to decide.
Yeah,
so-
it should be no surprise that none of the next ones is going to be similar because let's be honest, most of these other 7s, it's like pick your favorite ice cream flavor. Like which one would you rather watch? So number 7 for me, I'm going to start with the one that started all, which is the original Mission Impossible. A really great action spy film. No one knew it was going to make that a lot of money because it was another one of those movies that's based on a TV show. Oh, yay, this is going to be bad. No, this is definitely one of the better movies based on a TV show.
And, Untouchables, Mission Impossible, and Fugitive, all based on TV shows. And a lot of them came out in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. But the original is great, and I definitely really enjoy it. Now you get this 6 through 1. This is where it gets really tricky. So number 6 for me is Mission Impossible 3. I love it that much. One of the best written villains ever for a Mission Impossible movie. So good. The chemistry of Ethan and Julia is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they stayed married the entire time. I'm so sad they didn't. But it's so amazing.
Him and Ilsa. In my opinion.
Yeah,
that would have been nice.
Yeah, absolutely great. Mission Impossible 3, love it. 5, Ghost Protocol. The stakes raised high for this one, especially in the stunt work. Yikes!
For a lot of people, this was the entry point. Like Ghost Protocol, it was
the first
mine.
one I watched.
Yeah.
And Dyllan, your favorite scene. Your line is not long enough. And your favorite, no crap or anything like that.
No shit.
Yeah, I love that line. So funny, so great, such a great line.
I still remember when I was 12 when I saw Ghost Protocol and seeing that scene of the Burj Khalifa. I was just, I'd never seen anything like that at the time, especially not done real. Like they actually did that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that was my first moment of realization where I was like, Tom Cruise is insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
insane. Yeah.
No, not just insane like in terms of like Oprah Winfrey like jumping on couches
Right,
and
right,
stuff.
right.
Like, I mean like when he's making movies.
Yeah.
Like
Certifiable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he loves movies so much that he's just fucking insane.
Yeah. And Jeremy Renner, really cool addition to the franchise. I wish he was used more often, honestly. actually.
That is one comment that I want to make about Final Reckoning. I wish that he would have been in Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
Just, even if just
or
briefly or passing,
Vanessa Kirby.
Like, yeah.
That
Either or. I would have really loved that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. For Rogue Nation, just like I'll be honest with you guys, when I said this is my favorite of the franchise, no, this is my favorite of the franchise.
I go back and forth a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, and Rogue Nation was just so phenomenal. This is what got me excited for Mission Impossible when Fallout was coming out, and I got to watch all of it. And then when I got to Rogue Nation, I thought to myself, oh, this is gonna get real good.
Rogue Nation's still my favorite.
Okay, yeah.
Matthew's favorite is Rogue Nation.
Yeah, which is totally fine. I love all of them.
Yeah.
The villain is great. Absolutely love that.
Mhm.
Seeing the newest addition to the cast is also great to see her. in this
Rebecca
one.
Ferguson
Rebecca
is Elsa.
Ferguson, which she's so gorgeous. My gosh.
That scene with her in the opera. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, that is so
Yeah.
great. And then the
Admittedly.
underwater sequence is absolutely fantastic. And I will admit, after the underwater sequence, she gets more gorgeous.
It shows her back. Come on. Grow up.
Depraved. Holy
Hey, I'm
crap.
single, guys. I'm single. Okay.
I mean, so am I, but damn.
I'm not.
Yeah, I am
I'm
a
not
fan.
single
So
anymore.
anyway, I absolutely love this one. Okay, number 3, and this is where it's likely going to be pretty debated. I know you guys probably not going to agree with the top 3, but this is what it is. Number 3, Fallout. Love it. Henry Cavill, so fantastic in this movie. Greatest plot twist ever. He turned out to be
That
the villain.
mustache was worth it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Whatever WB was trying to do, which it wasn't that terrible, but still,
It was
the
pretty
fact he
bad.
worked on 2 movies at the same time, yikes, Warner Brothers.
Like, you couldn't have timed that out differently.
Yeah,
Right.
but Fallout was so good. The stunt work in this movie also was fantastic. I love the climax against him and August.
The helicopters.
Yeah. So good. Such a fantastic scene. Every single moment of this movie was just absolutely phenomenal. All right, now we get to number 2. I know it's very recency biased. I know that it's not going to be everyone's number 1, but screw it. Number 2, Dead Reckoning is my second favorite. This leads up to the Final Reckoning. Once again, just like all the other great Mission Impossible movies, excellent storytelling, fantastic action sequences, the stunts. Again, Tom Cruise. What in the world? How are you not dead yet? It's unbelievable. It's
I think he's
unbelievable.
earned his retirement now,
And-
or from the franchise.
And
at least.
personally, the villain, he's actually is my second favorite villain, just right behind Mission Impossible 3 villain. So I love his goals of what he's actually doing. The train sequence, my gosh, the train sequence is phenomenal. Love that sequence. It's absolutely just
In Dead Reckoning?
Dead Reckoning.
Okay.
Yeah, that train sequence was so good. My goodness, dude! Like,
Dead Reckoning.
it's still going. It's still going.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Dead Reckoning is your number 1.
Dead Reckoning is my number 2, as I said. Dead Reckoning is my number 2.
Oh.
Yeah, that's okay. Dead Reckoning number 2. So yeah, I know it's recency bias, but Final Reckoning is my number 1. It lived up to my expectations. I loved it that much. So there you go.
All right. I'll go. Is it okay? Okay.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, we already talked about the second one. Like I said, I either really, really enjoy or love the rest of these movies, and it was really hard. But number 7 on my ranking, Mission Impossible 3. Just Philip Seymour Hoffman's performance in this, like, makes this as good as it is. Like, that scene where he's like, you know, I'm gonna find your girlfriend. I'm just gonna hurt her, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna kill you right in front of her. That
I
oh
hate
my god,
you.
like
Crazy.
truly a great
Cold.
villain. The action scenes in this movie are not as memorable as the others.
Yeah.
But it's not bad by any means. And there's still a lot of the plot is pretty engaging. Overall, just a solid movie. Number 6, recency thing, but Final Reckoning. I've already said my issues with the movie, but seriously, the last half of this movie is worth paying IMAX prices alone. Like, seriously, it's just that exhilarating and stunning. Number 5, going back to the original Brian De Palma film from '96. This is much more slower and more espionage oriented. which I like a lot. It still has those great moments, especially the one where he's breaking into that room. One of the most intense moments, and it's so silent and it's great. And yeah, just a really thrilling and engaging spy thriller, but does have those few of those big action moments that you know from the franchise. Um, and it definitely laid the groundwork for what was to come after.
Yeah.
So, and I love good origin stories, and this is great.
Absolutely.
Number 4, Dead Reckoning. Yeah, just really not quite as good as the next 3 that I'm about to bring up, but still, just when this franchise hits gold in its action sequences, it's just firing on all cylinders, and this film is no exception when it comes to that. The car chase in that tiny little ass car
I love
is,
it. I
is
love it.
great. I love that scene. Haley Atwell's introduction in this is fantastic.
It also is really funny.
Just a lot of great banter and comic relief in there. And I think it does build up the entity pretty well. And it leads to what you see in this new movie. Number 3, Ghost Protocol. Like I said, this was my introduction. This was basically my intro into what the series could become. And it got things. Mission Impossible 3 was a soft course correction after Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol pretty much set the benchmark for the rest of these. It had outstanding action sequences. It had great breakneck pace. It had great team banter. It set up these new characters, Benji, Simon Pegg, and Jeremy Renner. I'm sad we didn't get more of the girl in this. Paula.
Sadu?
No, not Leia Sadu. Paula Patton, who plays Jane in this. I liked her a lot in this film, and I wish we could have got more of her because she was really great in this.
I'm a big fan of Leia Sadu.
Yeah, she's also in
Yeah,
this
he's
film.
a bad Balea.
Number 2, Rogue Nation. It pretty much took. This was where Christopher McQuarrie got into the director's seat with this. Absolutely crushed it. And just really just perfected more of what Ghost Protocol started. The action scenes are just so good. The team banter is there even more so, and introduces Rebecca Ferguson in there, and it's all around just
The beginning
great.
sequence on the plane.
And
My
of course
gosh.
the plane. Of course
So
the plane.
good.
Number 1, Fallout. One of my top 10 favorite action films of all time. This film is pretty much the formula of this franchise done to absolute perfection. I left the theater when I first saw this film. I had the same feeling when I left leaving this film, Fallout, that I did for Mad Max Fury Road. Like I was so amped up after seeing this film because
Oh, yeah.
the pacing is the best in this franchise. The action, I think, outside of those 2 action sequences in the new film, are just done so well. The cinematography is great. The characters are the best in this one. The banter is all there. The character work is great. The story is intriguing and thrilling. Everything about this film is the best, absolutely the best in my opinion. And I don't think a Mission Impossible film that comes after will. I don't think it's ever going to be as good as this. So yeah, that's my ranking.
All right. We already said Mission Impossible 2, number 8. Number 7 is the first one. I feel like aside from Mission Impossible 2, I feel like the first one is the one that feels the most different from the rest of the franchise. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's still a great movie.
It
in
feels
and of its
more
own.
like
It still feels great. And
like it was trying to a modernization of what the show was.
yes, yeah.
And
that's
keep in
exactly
mind,
how I put it,
I've
yeah.
seen incredibly little of the show. I think most people have. Most people only know the movies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No. It's for that exact reason why it's kind of 7. Just how it feels a little more displaced from everything else. Like everything else obviously built upon it, like you said. But it's just at least in the terms of how it's structured and everything, it just there's a lot more distance from it in the rest of the franchise. Still better than 2.
Now, I also forgot to say this. I don't think in all the flashback edits in Final Reckoning, I don't remember a single scene from Mission Impossible 2 being shown.
There's only one. Or there's 2 that I remember. I remember the one where he's rock climbing, and I remember the one
might
where
have been
he's
the
racing
only
on the
one.
bike.
Literally, they don't even reference anything that
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
in Mission Impossible 2. That's how infamous and notorious that movie is.
I kind of love the movie, but that's probably a good thing they didn't show out. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the filmmakers realize that's the black sheep.
Yeah. All right. Oh, what's that?
But
Number
continue.
6?
No, number 6 is Ghost Protocol. It's just it's the same thing. Everything above 2 is a lot harder to rank. Ghost Protocol is still a really good movie. I'm not.
Brad Bird directed this.
Really?
Incredible.
Brad Bird, yeah.
I think he's just as good he can be just as good in live action as he can with animation.
Yeah.
hmm
I
It just sucks that Tomorrowland wasn't that good. But
I have my issues with Tomorrowland
Yeah.
that don't even involve
yeah.
the way that the movie was done.
mhm.
But Ghost Protocol, I will say I'm not a big fan of the writing of the first half. I
can see
have some
that.
issues with that. But everything after that is pretty golden for me. I really do like it. I think that
the
everything's built
Kremlin,
up really
the
well.
Kremlin scene
The
is
Kremlin scene's
so
awesome.
is funny and intense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So cheesy.
The camera thing that they use to hide in
In the
plain
hallway.
sight is so good.
No, really good. Number 5 is 3. 3, I think when we initially did rankings, 3 was actually my second least favorite. I just
It's usually in there.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is, as we said, amazing in this movie.
He makes the movie.
Yeah, he
like,
really
absolutely.
does. And I think that's the every time that I rewatch 3, I like it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And like so, it'll slowly move up. But Philip Seymour Hoffman is amazing. I think that Tom Cruise. This is my favorite performance from him.
He shows a lot of depth in this movie.
He really does. I think
This is especially after 2, where he's just such a self-righteous and such a douchebag ladies man. This one made him more human and relatable. And yeah definitely a great direction to go with him.
Yeah, I loved it. Giving him the wife was such a brilliant angle for a character like this. I really love it. I agree.
And Michelle Monaghan is just great in this.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Just the opening scene of this movie hooks you immediately.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I loved it. I don't know. Mission Impossible 3 is just fucking brilliant, man.
It's just solid.
I
mean, there's nothing really wrong with it.
No.
That's the thing with a lot of our lower rankings for these movies. Like, we still really like them.
Yeah, they're
even though
great
they're
movies.
lower. So yeah.
I'll go to number 4. My number 4 is Rogue Nation. Rebecca Ferguson, brilliant addition to the cast of the franchise. I really love.
This was the first time I really paid attention to her. I don't recall seeing her in anything else.
Yeah, I didn't see her in anything before that.
She was in that Dwayne Johnson Hercules movie.
Was she?
I don't even remember her.
I saw it once when it came out.
I saw it once too. I don't recall her in it.
I mostly just remember Ian McShane in it.
Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, Rogue Nation.
Awesome. I loved it. The water turbine scene especially.
Oh my
I won't
God.
say water turbine, but yeah, the underwater scene. I'm a slut for water when it comes to any type of on-screen media.
Mm-hmm.
If there are brilliant underwater sequences, I'm absolutely going to love the movie. If it's animated, if it's got beautiful water animation, I'm absolutely going to love the movie. I don't know why. I'm a sucker for water scenes. But no, Rogue Nation is just brilliant. I really loved it. Like I said, Rebecca Ferguson, great addition. I like that. I like the addition of. Yeah, I know they teased it before, but I like the addition of the Shadow Ops
Yeah,
agency.
the Syndicate.
Syndicate, yes, thank you. I really like the addition of the Syndicate.
And who's the actor who plays the villain in this? He's also in Prometheus. He's just
Sean Harris.
Sean Harris. Yeah, just great. He's a good villain too.
Yeah.
Really great creepy voice and good presence. He's amazing in Fallout.
I love how he is on screen in Fallout.
Yeah.
Which is really funny considering the fact that Fallout's my number 3.
Hey, there you go.
Damn.
I love Fallout.
Okay.
My top 3 are really hard for me.
Okay.
I think that out of everything, Fallout is. I want to go out on a limb and say that if you discount the first movie, which I always feel like in a franchise, it's hard to say that any movie after the first one is the best one, because you just have to look at where it all started. But Fallout's the best Mission Impossible movie that we've got, in my opinion. I think that everything was so wonderfully done, and I truly love it. Henry Cavill again is such an amazing villain,
and Angela Bassett is also great as.
Yes, I'm always happy to see her pop up.
And Alec Baldwin is great too.
Yes,
sad to see him go.
Yes, I would have liked to see him carry over into at least part 1. That character, but he served a purpose, and I was very glad with the character that we got out of it, especially compared to the asshole that he was in the prior movie.
Yeah.
I can neither confirm or deny anything about the Secretary.
Yeah, such a good moment, dude. Oh, no, really good. We already mentioned before the helicopter sequence as they're going down
when
the
he's
cliff.
hanging off, just when he's hanging off like the cargo.
Yeah.
Just the scene where he's chasing after Henry Cavill through the city. It's just Tom Cruise running, and and he's jumping off rooftops and shit. It is so thrilling, and the music in Fallout is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like Lauren Balfe's, or however you pronounce the name. The score is just incredible in Fallout.
Well, it's got one of my favorite sequences as well with the air dive.
Oh god, the Halo jump.
The Halo jump.
If you put a Halo jump sequence in a movie, it's gonna make the movie go up like a point or two, like Godzilla or Fallout, of course. There's a bunch of others I'm sure have great Halo jumps.
Fallout. I really prefer the Halo dive in Fallout versus the one in Godzilla. Godzilla was good too.
The teaser, the one when they showed that scene in Godzilla was just the teaser.
Yes, yeah.
It gave me goosebumps. When
It's so good.
So now it gets very interesting. What's number 2?
Well, it's just what order it's gonna be.
Yeah. Number 2 is part 1.
Okay.
I'm biased.
Yeah.
I'm biased. I think generally, if it weren't for Haley Atwell, I think Fallout would be at the top of my list. I just gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I love Haley Atwell. She truly is amazing. She's in a less simpy way. She's my Gal Gadot.
I condone.
Yeah, Captain Carter, man. There's a reason why I'm never going to give in to the Captain Carter hate.
Why would you hate Captain Carter?
I don't know. A lot of people are just like, she's an industry plant, and I was like, yeah, but she's still a fun character. Like,
I mean,
somebody's got to be the mascot for that
in
show.
The comics too, right?
Well, Captain Carter was an MCU original, not the character like Peggy Carter, but the concept of like Peggy Carter as the super soldier. Like, she was an MCU exclusive, so Captain Carter was an MCU exclusive. But industry plant thing, it's like, yeah, but somebody's got to be the mascot of
I'm
what
tired
if.
of that shit. I'm not.
I
don't even want to get into that.
Yeah, no, it's whatever. That's MCU news. But I just love Haley Atwell. For any project with Haley Atwell, for me, is already raised up a little higher than it would have been. But part 1 just knocked my socks off when I watched it.
Yes.
I just everything in it. I think Mission Impossible 3 aside, I think that Part 1 and Final Reckoning are Tom Cruise's best performance in this.
Oh, yeah.
In this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he delivers really well. I love the desperation that's fed into the story.
Yeah.
I love the stakes that they introduce because nothing really feels as they say it multiple times throughout the franchise. They're like, you just saved the world, but it never
good enough
completely
for him.
feels like it. Yeah. Like it always feels like, okay, but they were able to like contain it in time. Like this is all within its own little room. Like it wasn't outside of it at any point. It didn't feel like there was a global threat. But Part 1 and Final Reckoning, they both like you said, they really nail it home. They really make you feel like there are some true stakes here.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. Part 1 set up Final Reckoning beautifully, in my opinion. I will say one thing that I'm upset.
And it seems like a lot of people, like reviewers, have suddenly turned on Dead Reckoning, and I'm not really
That's weird.
sure why. Like, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes has like a 97.
Yeah, 96,
so it's not like
97%,
people, and it's not like people like didn't like the movie when they saw it. It's really weird. Like every review I've watched about Final Reckoning, it's like now it just seems like people just dislike Dead Reckoning. It's like, why?
That's
Yeah,
weird.
Because it wasn't Fallout. I'm sorry. Genuinely, like, it's just, I don't know.
Well,
It's a little confusing to me.
Well, I mean, that's also just the case with like anything these days. Like
Just-
people seem
Yeah.
to love No Way Home when it came out, and then
now-
6 months later,
Yeah.
like everybody's like, "Oh, this was absolute shit." Like, what?
There
what
was
are you
something
talking
there was
about?
something
Yeah.
similar with Endgame too.
Yeah,
But it just seems like if a movie gets glowing reviews, usually there has to be a backlash at some point.
yeah.
Like it happens.
course.
It happens with every like good reviewed film, especially if it's big.
Mm.
Yeah.
Audiences, you drive me crazy sometimes.
It's not even
But
it's not even audiences. It's just like some people I watch on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But yeah.
Part 1 is my number 2. Final Reckoning is my number 1. I already gave enough thoughts for Final Reckoning
Yeah.
this episode.
You have no idea how excited I am. You had it at number 1. I was just like, yes.
I just really love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It's just my favorite of the entire franchise.
Yeah.
I will.
I was trying to be more objective about it, but
Yeah.
like I'm gonna.
It was my last 2 where I was like, I'm sorry. I have to stop. I don't really have my bias towards the top. And this case, like
Your
like
list
I said,
and I were very close, and I like that.
if I muted my bias a little bit more, Fallout would be my number 1.
Okay.
But I do have one comment about Final Reckoning. What? I feel like Offerman was wasted.
I don't really think
He did
so.
he did well. I'll say he did well.
Mhm.
But
They give him
I
a
would
nice
prefer him
moment
to be
at
in
the end.
one more movie than this to help set him up a little bit, because I felt like we were supposed to care a little bit more about his sacrifice. I would have preferred it to be anybody else, basically, that had been in that franchise.
Okay.
Also, I wanted Kittredge to get his. If Kittredge didn't fucking get his,
Well-
I would have preferred him to be the one that
Well,
was taking the
Kittredge
bullet.
was like, we gotta take control of the entity. It's we can use this in our hands now. And
Yeah.
basically, I saw that him getting his comeuppance was that scene when he meets with Ethan, when they land with the helicopter and he gets the thing back and he's like, shit.
Yeah, I know, but that's another like Ethan Hunt spoil for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of those things where like he probably should have fucking expected that.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it to me it doesn't feel like he's getting his dues.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
that was just my last little comment about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Final Reckoning, my number 1. I doubt it's ever going to change.
and I love that.
It's just there's so much in it, especially the what. Sorry, I know that I said that was my last comment. You made a comment about it earlier. As Ethan's floating up to the surface of the ice, I really love the camera work towards the end
Oh
there.
god, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that was
beautiful.
awesome.
You
I
see in
love
the
it.
trailer too.
Yeah.
And at first when I didn't realize that was Haley Atwell. I actually thought it was Ilsa who was coming into the shot with him.
Really? Because
I didn't, because I couldn't really tell. It was like it was kind of a little tight, and I thought it was Elsa, but it's Haley Atwell's character.
Well, for a moment, I thought it was Julia.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
that'd
was
be
thinking
fucking
that too.
weird.
Yeah.
I thought that was
It could've
just going to be
been.
like a delusion or something.
I mean,
but-
they have kind of similar hair. The three
Yeah,
of
Yeah,
them,
they did.
so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, we're about to start our Sermon 4 live reaction by the time it is actually uploaded. So whenever it does, you guys can go ahead and watch it right now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. But whenever Matthew moves into his house and
Dun
everything
dun
like that.
dun 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 dun. Bye bye,
See
guys.
ya!
Da-da-da-da-da.
Da da da.
We have been the Cinema Asylum Podcast. You guys were awesome. Thanks for coming out.